Hello, you're listening to the Ace Up Your Sleeve podcast. My name is Reichen Young, a student of the Acting Company for Excellence and host of the Ace Up Your Sleeve podcast. Today we are talking to Mack Kern. Miss Mack graduated from the University of Texas at Dallas with a Bachelor of Arts in Theater and has been in 30 plus productions around the DFW Metroplex. Miss Mack is a Dallas native and was in her first production of NTPA when she was just 8 years old. Now, more than a decade later, she returns as an amazing director. Welcome, Miss Mack.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me on your show.
Of course. We're so glad we got the time to answer some questions with you.
Thank you.
So, to begin, Miss Mack, you started at NTPA years ago as a student. Now you're a director. Tell us about that journey.
Well, it has been 16 years now since I first came to NTPA. That's back when it was Plano Children's Theater.
Yeah.
And it was a single theater in the back alley of a shopping center in Plano.
Totally.
And there was one rehearsal room, or I think two rehearsal rooms, and then one main stage, and then a giant parking lot. And so that's what we had to work with. And so it was me and a bunch of other Plano, Dallas kids who started there when we were super, super young. And now it has grown into one of the largest children's theater in the United States. And so it's just amazing to see how far we've come and how large and amazing this place has grown to be. I love my NTPA family. I consider this place my home. It's very personal to me. It's not just a job. It's more than that. It's like all of my childhood memories, all of my closest friends that I still talk to and still keep in touch with no matter where we go. And I'm just really happy to be still here 16 years later. So.
We're also so happy that this has thrived. Of course, we've been here since it's been NTPA, so we haven't known the absolute lore and history of this. But we're so glad to have a person who is here in those original days, and we're just very happy to have you.
Thank you.
And so, first off, what inspired you to choose theater as a career, and what do you hope to accomplish in the industry?
So my mom would always put on movies growing up, like The Sound of Music, West Side Story, and so I grew up watching those, and eventually she got tired of hearing me sing around the house, and she was like, you need to just go audition for your first show. I saw Plano Children's Theater was having auditions for Annie kids, and so my 8-year-old self went and marched up to those auditions, and I was absolutely terrified. I cried during my first audition, could not even get a single word out, went out in the parking lot, dried my eyes, went back in there, managed to do it. I was cast as orphan number 8.
Yeah.
And I was so happy, and I was so thrilled, and I was like, I'm in my first show. And I guess from there, I was just hooked, and so I kept doing it. Couldn't keep it away. I was doing dance and other things in high school, but I was prioritizing theater mainly because I loved it so much. And then junior year of high school, you're looking at majors, colleges, things like that, really getting down to deciding what you want to do. Mm-hmm. And I was like, theater, I can't get away. Let's just keep doing it. And so I went and pursued a Bachelor of Arts and got that from the University of Texas at Dallas here.
Nice.
And then immediately after graduating, I called up Mike Mazur here at NTPA and was like, are y'all hiring directors? I came in, did the whole interview process, and they hired me to come back straight out of college. And so I'm very thankful for the opportunity to come back and be able to do this as a full-time job and a career. And now it's I'm just doing what I love, but I'm getting paid. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I will say that is kind of an upside to be able to do what you love. Exactly. And so now you're an NTPA director. What should students know before participating in a production with you?
I would say with my shows, what I consider when I direct the younger kids shows, the children's theater, that I don't consider it children's theater, I consider it theater. So when I'm doing the younger age groups, because I love my little kids, I always tell them and I say, just because y'all are younger and just because y'all are kids doesn't mean your show shouldn't be held to the same high standard as those senior shows and those older kids get. And I always want my production quality to be held to the highest standard possible, and to hold myself as a serious director, and to keep my kids with the same professionalism that all kids should be treated at this theater, and that kid shows are not just kid shows, and that actors are actors no matter what age. And so I always believe in pushing kids to just higher limits and seeing if they can reach higher goals, because that's how I was inspired with the directors I grew up with here at NTPA. I was pushed, and I'm just so thankful for that no one treated me like a little kid when I walked in here, that, oh, I needed to be baby during this rehearsal, that I was given the opportunity to try harder and believe in myself and believe I was capable of achieving bigger things. And so I'm glad that I was pushed to that. And so that's what I want to keep on with my kids now as a director, is that same mentality, because I really believe it's good for them, and it's good for the youth to really, if they want to take it professionally and really get hooked, to be treated as the professionals that they are.
Wow. So first off, there are so many amazing things about that, just the principle that you were stating. But it also reveals to just the public in general how amazing NTPA is and how at home it makes you feel. I know there are several kids who are always like, they have a bad day, or like someone is teasing them at school, they failed on the assignment, or whatever. But the second you step through the doors at NTPA, the second you're greeted by your best friends, the second you're greeted by a director and told that you matter as a human being, and that your opinion matters and that you're valid, it instantly makes you feel better. And I have always known, I mean, I've seen such an amazing change in some kids when they really get into this theater at NTPA and when they become a part of this family. So I'm so happy that you brought that up, because it really does show how amazing NTPA is, and also in particular your directing style as well. And it shows, and it just goes to show like that you are adding to the NTPA family. And I mean, I'm sorry, I know I've said this like 7 times, but how grateful we are to have you.
Thank you.
And especially someone who also has been a student before and knows how to treat those students as well. So also another amazing quality.
Yeah, I mean, I had my issues growing up. I had my quirks, but I always think when you're at a certain age, if you get a director that learns how to channel that energy and use it for good, and teach kids that if they have this certain quirk or certain aura about them, that they can use that on stage, and they can use that to play this certain character or fulfill this role and make this show as amazing it should be, then that's the best thing that you can do as a director, rather than dumbing kids down. It's always good to take what they have and take the positives from the negatives and use that to the best of your ability. So. And
here you are now.
And here I am now.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
And so kind of just going in tandem with that, auditions can be really intimidating. What advice can you give students when they are auditioning for you?
Know your niches and know your strengths. So if you can't out-act somebody, then out-sing them. If you can't out-sing somebody, then out-dance them. So a lot of people go into auditions thinking that they need to be better than everyone in the room. And I don't believe that. I think there are roles that require certain things. And so if you know your strengths and you know your powers, and you go into an audition and you know how to use the best of those and showcase the best that you can do, that's how you can take advantage of an audition. And so knowing how to work through anything that you might not be as strong as, if you aren't as good as singing as you are at acting, then just knowing that you should go out for this role or go out for this show, then that'll help you further your career and further your resume as you audition for shows. And know your strengths is always important. A lot of people these days, and a lot of the youth I like to see, they like to go shopping for roles. And so as directors, we see that where it's all about the role. It's all about the name on the resume. It's all about you played this part in this show, and so therefore I was better than you. And it's a lack of wanting to just be in the show and wanting to make the show better and being the best ensemble member and being the best dance captain or being the best co-star. Like it's a lot of these kids we see come in these days, and they think it's all about being the lead and being the best and the biggest person in the room. And I don't believe that. I think as an actor, you should just want to be in a show and be involved in an opportunity, because everything is a learning and a growing process. And so if you're coming in it as a competitive angle, and that, oh, like I'm better than these kids because my name's higher than yours on the cast list, that's not professional, and that's not being a team player, and that's only thinking about yourself and not thinking about the show as an entirety. And you should be really appreciating of the arts and theater and finding the beauty and the history in musicals and in plays, and learning and growing as much as you can, but instead of focusing on yourself and just being the person in the spotlight on the stage.
That is an absolute amazing view, and I really, really admire that, especially in the fact that I also think this alludes to the, famous saying, there's no such thing as a small part, there's small actors. And I do believe that a lot of people don't really take that into heart. Like, they don't really believe that, and that, like, oh, like, Jack Kelly is going to be better than Les, or, like, Dorothy is going to be better than, I don't know, the Wizard. And so I'm really happy you brought that up, because the world needs to be less competitive. And there are often a lot of people in your life who will often try to beat you down, claiming that they're better than you and that they're either like smarter or they're more pretty or just any sort of like physical and or like mental attributes. And I believe that not only is your principle is not only a great thing to apply to theater, but also to real life. Like, be aware of those competitive people and be aware that you yourself are good. You are, sorry, I know I'm getting a little cheesy, but you are yourself, and always stay true to that. So thank you for that.
Very wise.
How do you hope students will learn from you as a director?
Kind of what I said earlier, I guess, is always pushing yourselves is good, and that this isn't children's theater, that this is theater. And so just mutual respect goes a long way. If you come into a room and you think you're the biggest and baddest person there, then obviously you're going to be reciprocated with not good energy. But if you come in and you're a team player and you're working hard and you're playing hard and you're not complaining about whatever role you got, and you're there and supporting your doubles, supporting your understudies, then that really can help you in the professional world in the future, is just being a good person, and always treating other people the way you would want to be treated, because that's how I treat my kids in a show, because I want to be treated with professional actors, and I know that they want a professional director, and so that's just how I go about things. I would say.
And I also appreciate that, because also kind of going back to what we were saying earlier, kids want to be treated with respect. And I believe not a whole lot of adults really believe that. And so in you saying like what you want them to learn from you is just how to be respected. And so I also really appreciate that.
Just teaching kids, like talking to them the way you talk to your fellow peers, I think goes a long way, rather than, I don't know, like leaning down and being like, did you memorize your lines today? I just always prefer to just talk to them the way I would talk to my mutuals, and so that usually makes them really listen and really focus more, because they're like, wow, like this person's treating me like an adult. And so that really can mean a lot to the younger generation too.
Kids are humans too.
Yes, they are. Even when they're bad, they're still humans.
Exactly. We all make mistakes. So now, how can students continue to grow and learn as an actor when they are in between shows?
I would say always exposing yourself to as many creative outlets as possible. Just continue watching live theater, continue watching films, continue practicing singing in your car, anything. The worst thing you can possibly do is just not want to be involved in theater, not do your research, not research on upcoming shows, or keep practicing, because the worst thing you can do is just let yourself lose that spark, I would say, for after the post-show feeling goes away, and then you're waiting for your next audition, you're waiting for your next show. I say you always can use that time in between as a learning and growing process, and thinking about what you did for your last show, how you can be better for your next one, because our bodies are our tools that we use as actors and people, and so it's always good to be preparing those and exercising those to the best of your ability for the next opportunity.
And so I know there are several days, believe me, in a week or even like a month or however long, whatever the span of time may be, but there are always those days where you feel like it's not a creative day, like it's a day that you maybe want to stay in bed a little longer, maybe you want to sleep, you just want to just lay around. What is your advice to overcome those days and continue to be creative even when you don't feel like it?
Well, I would say rest is good. Mental health is important. I've had a lot of low days and a lot of days when I didn't feel like doing anything, when I didn't want to go to rehearsal, when I didn't want to direct, when I didn't even want to go to a show. But then you have to think about the other people involved in the process, and then you yourself, I mean, pushing through. I grew up, my parents were tough lovers, so they always taught me to just keep going, keep pushing yourself, even when you're having bad days. And so thankfully that kept me grinding it out and getting out of bed even when I didn't want to, because mental health is important and it matters. And so you can take rest days, but as long as you're still always searching for the next opportunity and wanting to keep focused on your goals and your ambitions, then I think that's important.
And finally, if you could give one piece of advice to kids who want to pursue theater as a career, what would it be?
So I got my theater degree from the #1 ranked public university in business programs and finance degrees in the state of Texas. And the amount of people, peers, and even friends that have laughed at me, that have mocked me, that have said, oh, you should have got a business minor, like you're getting a degree in theater, why would you do that? That's dumb, that's a waste of money, that's a waste of time, that's a waste of resources, you're wasting all of this 4 years of your life when you could be going and pursuing something that's actually going to make you money. Do not listen to them. Do not let them get you down, because there will be haters out there, because we are creatives, and those people that are hating are the jealous ones because they wish that they could be doing what we were doing. And so you cannot let those people and those negative influences in your life get you down. If I had $1 for every time somebody was like, oh, what, you have a final today and you just have to do a monologue, like that's so dumb, that's so stupid, like, oh, you are just doing musicals and plays and you're just doing like the dumb little dances, like that's all your degree and your career is about, like I would be very, very rich. And thankfully they were wrong, because it's not dumb, and it is a respected craft, and all of those people that pursue different careers and pursue different goals, their favorite entertainment and their favorite music, their favorite shows that they watch are all from creatives like us, and they all enjoy things in their everyday lives that came from theater kids, that came from people in the entertainment industry, and they don't even realize it sometimes. And so for people to talk down on kids that are like, I want to go do theater, I just think it's a jealousy thing at the end of the day, because they weren't brave enough to do what we were doing, that they want to go work in a job industry that's more secure, but we as artistic people have the opportunities to use this degree and use this job resources for so many other things. If I want to go do a cruise line, if I want to go be on Broadway, if I want to go do film, I can all do that, thankfully, to how I was brought up and how I was trained. And so we have a lot of opportunities in this world, and so don't let anybody tell you different or dumb you down just because you say you want to pursue a degree in something or a degree in theater. That's different from what other people would naturally assume. So, yeah.
Hey, we'll appreciate it. So, in other words, be persistent, be educated, and don't listen to those who wish to bring you down.
Yes.
And now, Miss Mack, it's time for the 5 quick questions, where we ask every guest the same 5 quick questions. You must answer every question quickly and without explanation. Are you ready?
Yeah.
What is the name of the first show you performed?
Annie Kids.
What is your favorite show?
Moulin Rouge.
What is your favorite role?
Nancy and Oliver.
What is your favorite dream role?
Velma in Chicago.
What is your favorite candy?
Baby Ruth's.
Wonderful! Thank you so much, Miss Mack, for talking with us once again on the Ace Up Your Sleeve podcast.
Thank you, guys. I'm so happy to be here, and I was just so happy to come in today and talk.
Well, we're very glad to have you.
Thank you.
And until next time, I'm Reichen Young. Remember, you always have a winning hand with an ace up your sleeve. The Ace Up Your Sleeve podcast is brought to you by the students of the Acting Company for Excellence at North Texas Performing Arts. This podcast was created by Reichen Young, with sound design and editing by Latham Young. NTPA is a nonprofit organization dedicated to developing the character of youth through quality performing arts education and family entertainment. Learn more about upcoming programs and events at ntpa.org.